Hi, I'm joined by Konami's Dave Cox, and we're here to talk about Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. So, how's the show going in terms of Castlevania?
I've had a really good response for the game, so there's been big queues playing the game, and it's been interesting watching people play it because it's always, you can always get very close to these things, and when you're developing a game it's nice to actually see people playing it and see the quirks and the places where they're getting stuck, and hopefully we can do some tweaks and improve those things, but it's been great, really good response.
How far along is the game? How close is it to completion?
We've still got quite a way to go. We're not quite sure when we're going to release. We know it's going to be sometime this winter. The game's going to be available on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and PC via Steam. But we're at that stage, where it's all about the polish.
Yeah. So does that mean it could be early next year as well?
Could be.
Did you guys ever consider holding it for the next gen?
It was something that came up, but we've done such a lot of work on it so far. I mean, when we finished the original game in 2010, we decided not to just bang out another sequel very, very quickly. We really wanted to make a big change, and we wanted to improve a lot of things. And that meant really throwing away our old engine and starting with a new one.
Yeah.
And having gone so far into development when the new systems were announced, we decided that we're just going to carry on with the current gen.
Yeah. So the story itself, and I'm hesitant to say because it is such a spoiler from the end of the first one. But if people haven't played the game, they're going to be spoiled as soon as they see an ad for it. How far ahead did you have to plan for sequels in the rest of the franchise?
We didn't really plan for sequel at all. When we finished the first game, we had a kind of arc that we thought would be really cool, and we included the epilogue because we thought that'd be a kind of nice way to say, look, if we got to do another one, this is what we would do with it. This is where we would take it. We weren't expecting the success that we got, and when we got asked to do the inevitable sequel, we were like, now we need to think about how we're going to finish this up.
Yeah.
As I say, we already had the bare bones of it, but filling in the details, that was one of the most exciting things about working on the sequel was, how are we going to take this, where are we going to take this.
Sure.
And we want to surprise players, I think, with the story. We've done that with the epilogue, and hopefully with Lords of Shadow 2, we're going to surprise them again.
So what lessons did you learn from the first game that you applied to this one, both pros and cons?
I think one of the criticisms we got was people, obviously loved the world that we had, but they felt they couldn't really explore it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the key things we wanted to do with this game, was to sort of bump up the exploration aspect of it. I mean, it continues to be a hack-and-slash game. Fighting, combat continues to be the meat of the product, but we felt that we wanted to improve the exploration, and having a fixed camera like we had in the first game, it's not really exploration friendly. So, we decided straight away we've got to have a free camera system,
Right.
And that was a major decision because and that meant really thinking about our technology and what it was capable of at the time and redoing it. We also felt that the combat was one of the things we got really right, and we felt that we could improve upon it and add more layers and make it more strategic and deeper. And that, again, that's something we've done by introducing the new weapons, the Void Sword and the Chaos Claws. And those weapons have their own combos as well attached to them, so you've got more abilities to play with as the Lord Dracula. And of course, being a vampire, he's going to have these really cool vampiric abilities, which you see one of them in the demo here, where he bites enemies and it gives him some health back. Of course, there's more, but at this point we're not revealing. But I think players who are expecting to play this really cool badass Lord Dracula, they're going to have the things that they want. They're going to have the toys that they want, and they're going to enjoy playing this really powerful character.
So some of the game, or a good chunk, is set in the modern day time, right?
Pretty much the whole game.
So the prologue we saw was the medieval period, and it's kind of a medieval fantasy period, I guess, an undefined one. But that also fits with the other Castlevanias of the previous ones, and you've introduced more Belmonts at this point. So how does this game fit into the overall mythology, or did you just try to recreate it altogether?
We've created our own mythology. I mean, there are many aspects of the Castlevania games that we feature within these games, but we've tried to do our own thing. I mean, this really is the end of Dracula's story. So we started at the beginning with the Lords of Shadow 1, and this is going to be the end. A Mirror of Fate kind of sat somewhere between the middle. So this is set in present day, pretty much exclusively set in present day, although the demo that we're showing today shows Dracula at the height of his powers. Right. The rest of the game takes place in a modern setting. Although this city isn't like New York, we're not going to drop Dracula in the middle of Times Square and have you figure out what you need to do. It continues to be a heavily story-driven game. It continues to be a game where we're going to create an environment that's very fits in the Castlevania universe. You're going to see lots of parapets, towers, cathedrals, stained glass windows. This game takes place in one night. So it's very important that people feel like this feels like a Castlevania game. And we're bringing our A game again with the art direction and the design and the care that they had in the previous game. So I think that hopefully players are looking forward to playing a game that You know, feels like a Castlevania game, but it's doing lots of new things too.
And do you see this as this is the end of the story? You say it's the end of Dracula, not a continuation of a longer run?
No, this is definitely going to be the end of us. This is the last Castlevania game we're going to work on. You know, we want to end Dracula's story. We think if you've got a story to tell, you should just tell it and be done with it. You know, regurgitating more and more things, or you know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we very clearly set out our stall and said, look, you know, these are the games we're going to do. Once we've done that, we're going to move on. And we want players to go out with a bang. I think that's what we want to say. We want to go out with a bang. We want players to be satisfied with the story, and it comes to a really good conclusion for them.
So are you guys planning any additional DLCs or extra content afterwards?
We're not really talking about that right now, but there's a good possibility, shall we say.
All right, and so look for Castlevania in winter of this year or early next.